Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Capricorn energy, and I'm having a hard time shuffling. I have these two different size decks combined, which the smaller one wants to slip out the bottom. But we are going to do this 10 card spread and see what could be going on in Capricorn energy. And we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because everybody can kind of be at different emotional maturity levels, right? And high vibe, this in a high vibe energy is available to everyone, but you know, if we haven't learned to temper our ego or our fear or insecurities or our lust or our greed or something, we're going to handle this energy differently. So I view high vibe Capricorn as the King of Pentacles because shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil. It takes a lot of work and effort to heal and grow and mature yourself and to authentically be who you present yourself to be in the world. We all can harness King of Pentacles energy because the masculine energies can represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world. But how do we really think and feel? And that's kind of represented by the feminine figures. And, some people go present themselves in the world as these just, fair, stable, grounded, emotionally mature people, and they're not. They might look like they are, but they're not. So, people will be handling this energy differently depending on kind of their emotional maturity level. Okay. So I view this card. Wow. I just did Cancer energy, and I have two channels. This channel, and I have another one called Tarotland Soap Opera. And for Cancer, they both got the wedding card, and now Capricorn has the wedding card. But I mean, for some people, they could be getting married. But a way to view it in a more general sense is that are we again aligned within ourselves? We have who we present ourselves in the world as, and then we have emotionally who we are. Are we kind of balanced and aligned within ourselves? And so the marriage card can also kind of represent, what we're more aligned within ourselves. Do we present ourselves as high vibe King of Pentacles, but emotionally we're aligned with our shadow nature, immaturity, pride, ego, all that stuff, defensiveness? And depending on what we're aligned within ourselves is gonna dictate who we get in relationships with. And at the bottom of the reading, the overarching reason for the reading is the wedding card. And at the end of the story, we have the Emperor, which is kind of making decisions based on what we're aligned within ourselves. And if people could be thinking of aligning with different people, if that's in friendships, relationships, in their family, getting more along, or relationships, people are I called this the Emperor, but it's the official person. And then underneath that, we have kind of the victory and success card. People are going to move forward based on what they align within themselves. And if they can find other people who they think are either on that same page, or if they're kind of more shadowy, maybe, bossy or controlling or immature or prideful or more materialistically focused, so long as they can find someone else who's kind of willing to indulge them in that way or is on the same page as them, that's what they're going to decide to move forward with. And, life is about making these choices in our life. And some people have some things in the victory card that they could move forward with, and some of them won't choose to move forward in that because maybe it's not aligned with their truth. And Capricorn energy can be about, what we view as victorious and successful. Is having a certain status and image the most important thing? Well, then that's what people make their life about. Is it more about money and materialism? Then that's what they'll make their life about. Is it more about them? They'll try to find people who will make a relationship more about them. Other people in high vibe energy have grown and matured themselves and gotten out of their more egoic nature and have been enlightened to the truth that it's about love And part of that is maintaining balance within yourself, moving forward, being more authentically yourself, out of your ego nature, more inspired by hope and faith and belief and love, kind of not willing to sell your soul for these other things and making those things more important. And some people will do that and some people won't. So we start out with the house card, the sigh card, and the child card. Well, some people are in relationships and some people have been in relationships with some people who they could feel are kind of more immature or bossy and controlling. So I'm kind of viewing in high vibe, the house card reminds me of the Four of Wands, and the official person is like, they're both like Aries energy. We're either a good leader in the world and we're offering love and encouragement to other people. But if we're dealing with some people who are more immature or codependent, some people could be sighing about the fact, SIGHS, kind of exasperation in a way, with some people in their life who are more immature. In the opposite way of looking at it, some people are more about themselves because Aries energy is about the self, and some people in more shadowy energy are more about themselves, and some of those people are in relationship with people who are more authentic and loving. And then they both could kind of be a little exasperated with each other because they're in a more mismatched relationship. And some people who might not be in a romantic relationship, you know, they're maybe wishing things would move forward in the way they want, and they could feel it's not, but they're choosing to operate from a foundation of love within themselves and then maintaining balance within themselves. And we have the foe card, which can be not letting your ego nature kind of drive your life, where you could be tempted to repeat an old pattern. And then we have the house card again. So, we've all got our own shadow nature, our fears, our insecurities, our competitive nature, our prideful nature, wanting some of the things that we want to manifest in the world to be in our reality. But high vibe people have learned enough lessons to be patient, to not repeat old patterns, so they keep offering themselves love and encouragement to keep moving forward. And then we have the merchant card, the wife card, and the frivolity card. So in the wife card, again, I mentioned the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. Sometimes if we're in workplaces, friendships, or relationships with people who might be kind of living their own life, working with some people who might not a little shadowy, you know, it can kind of be exasperating, you know. And if we know that that's what's in our environment, some people are choosing, I'm not going to move forward with any of those people if my impression is that those people are more shadowy. That in the faux card, emotionally, I don't think they have good intentions. Might they want to be in a relationship? Yeah, but I don't want to be in a relationship with them because I know that, you know, emotionally, they could indulge your more immature nature. The frivolity card kind of reminds me of the Eight of Wands or the Knight of Wands, that they're just kind of immature. And it's like, I'm not going to move forward with people. Could part of me want to because I'd like to maybe be in a relationship, or if it's to go get a different job and the other people who are offering people jobs or be friends with them, you'd maybe do it more out of ego or something like that. And in a lot of ways, it can look victorious and successful, but if you plant bad seeds, you're going to reap a bad harvest. And both people have to be planting good seeds. Even if you wanted to plant good seeds, if they're not inspired and balanced within themselves to put in work and effort from love and be inspired by love, how's that going to work? It's going to be an imbalanced relationship. And for the people right now that are in a mismatch kind of relationship, they could be trying to work through these differences in the faux card. Kind of like, well, I think why you want to move forward could be different than why I want to move forward. And, maybe in the merchant, it's kind of reminding me of a Seven of Pentacles card, which is kind of, again, it would maybe look good, seem like it would make good practical sense, but would it be love? And would I kind of be indulging you and have to keep indulging you kind of in your ego, or knowing it's more about the ego or the image or the status, or that is the whole point for why you want to be in it, you know? Or are you looking for someone to kind of play the role of a parent in your life where they can be kind of more immature? Well, don't you want these things? I'm willing to move forward with you. You should move forward with me. And then indulge me kind of in my more immature behavior, male or female. And some people have already been moving forward with some people like that. And, both of them in a way could want to move forward in it. But if it's a more mismatched relationship, both of them could be kind of frustrated. One wants them to move forward for the reasons they want them to move forward. The other person would like to move forward, but they want people to work through these issues within themselves to probably get more balance within themselves. It's kind of like with Aries energy, where we can be more inspired by ourselves. And then the Six of Wands in Leo energy, two fire sign energies. What is it that motivates and inspires us to move forward together? Is it being motivated and inspired kind of by the same truth? And maybe we could look at the marriage card as kind of like the Two of Cups, like, well, I'm kind of more aligned with this, and I'm more motivated and inspired by hope and faith and belief and love. And you emotionally could be more about yourself or the world or these other things. Some people in the faux card, it could be their own fear that keeps them in it, if it's a job, a friendship, a relationship. And if during the course of this relationship, if one person kind of gets inspired, having a little hope and faith and belief in themselves from love of their own like inner child nature, then I'm going to offer love to my fears and my insecurities to feel more inspired within myself and more balanced within myself. We have free will to align with our more shadowy nature or our more hopeful believing nature. And the people that are doing that within themselves and whoever it is within their life, they could be putting in work and effort to love themselves, to be willing to stand up for what they believe in, and maybe kind of communicate their truth, because the masculine cards can talk about that people are kind of taking action in the world, and the Sagittarius is another fire sign energy, and they can all be about communication, and some people could communicate to some people in their life that either I want this to move forward, but I don't want to move forward where maybe one person, whether they're male or female, could be operating more. The masculine figures can represent in a shadowy way that people are operating a little bit more from their ego because that is our more worldly egoic nature. And one person could be more connected in with their more emotionally loving, intuitive nature. And they just kind of feel like it's imbalanced for some of them. And if some people have been working through this together and in some way, high vibe, worldly, shadowy, they feel, hey, this is a match, they might move forward with it. Um, for the people who it's a more mismatched relationship, they might have been hoping that someone else that they wanted to be in a relationship with would come towards them. But some of those people, this could represent their past. Some of those people have turned their back on them because they could feel that these people aren't like authentic or are bossy, are more about themselves, are more about ego and image or immature, codependent. And they love themselves. It's like, I'm not going to move forward with you anymore in a relationship. You can move forward with whoever you want. And some of those people are kind of, if they are more about the ego or the image or being indulged in some way or more immature, if they have someone else who's willing to move forward with them, it just might be the next person they're going to try to manipulate, for their own reasons of what drives and motivates them to get in relationships. And because some people are more codependent and they are looking for someone to, like, it's not my job to offer love to my fears and insecurities. I get in relationships, and I think that's the answer to my problems. If they have someone who's willing to move forward with them in a relationship, they might think that's the answer to my problems. I'm going to get in a different job, a different friendship, a different relationship, and I'll go put in work and effort with that person. And basically, Sagittarius can be about higher learning and education. They're going to go on a journey to learn some lessons in life. That, for people who are more codependent, again, it's like some people, their vice to make themselves feel better and maybe feel more stable or grounded or look more victorious or successful in the world. And some people do kind of define their worth and value by if they're in a relationship or not, even if they kind of think they shouldn't be in that relationship. They may haven't learned to listen to their intuition. Even if they kind of think, I don't think that person has my best interests, even if I think that person's immature, even if this, even if that. And they're going to go on this journey to learn some of the lessons that some other people have learned. And, other people went on that journey and was like, oh my God, I should have listened to my intuition. But, kind of in our pride and ego, and we think we're the boss, and we maybe think we can change people or motivate and inspire people to grow up and mature themselves. And then we get in those relationships and we find out that, we kind of operate from different foundations. And again, what kind of drives and motivates us is different, but we didn't want to see the truth of it. And some of the people that are going to go on that type of journey are going to, at some future point in time, if they're not in that situation right now, they'll have to make that decision for themselves. We all have the free will to keep staying in things we invested in, even when we could later kind of see the truth that with this kind of being like the Seven of Pentacles and the Merchant card or the Eight of Pentacles, you know, people's philosophies of life are different. What they think is just and fair in a relationship is different. what kind of drives and motivates them, and why they even get in the relationship or want to stay in it is different. Are we willing to stay in it? And some people decided, if it's a more mismatched relationship, can there be love there? Yeah. But if I know that in the faux card, high vibe energy is about being more independent, getting out of your ego, willing to learn lessons in life. But you've got to get out of your ego to even admit that maybe I do have some growing up to do, or some healing, or maturing, or trying to see things from other people's perspective instead of it kind of being more about me, you know? And other people have already kind of moved on from some people like that. And again, as they're moving forward, if there's people in their environment that don't seem to be people who they think are on the same page, they keep doing this work within themselves. They keep putting in work and effort to keep going on this adventure and keep deciding to keep moving forward in hope and faith and belief and love, and keep putting work and effort into people in their life who are encouraging and supportive and loving, who make good decisions in their life and are good leaders in their life and encouraging and supportive of you. Do you have to live your life exactly the same? No, we got friends and family and they live their life one way, you live your life one way, but you're loving and encouraging and supportive of each other. My dream isn't the same as your dream. Things you want to go invest your time, energy, and effort into are different than I want. But we can all offer each other love and encouragement, and it's just that if we're going to get in a more involved relationship or romantic relationship, well, then, we do kind of want to be more on the same page. And I think as people move forward, if they're not in a romantic relationship and they could see other people maybe moving forward in some things, but if you kind of know, yeah, I think that's some of them it is high vibe, some of them it's not, you know. Bummer that some of the high vibe people, I would have maybe wanted to be in a relationship with them. The other people, yeah, I might already know you, or I know that we're not on the same page. And I think as you keep going, it's saying you will have victory and success. You can either settle kind of for the faux, the illusion, or you keep investing your time, energy, and effort into your truth. And as you keep investing more of your time and energy into your truth, that's where you're going to meet other people who are more on the same page as you. So let's see what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Capricorn energy that they might not see coming up. We have a card not showing itself, and the reason is because of the Empress and the Two of Wands. So people in high vibe Capricorn are harnessing high vibe Libra, Taurus, and Aries. They might have been in relationships with some people who harnessed a more worldly, shadowy Libra, Taurus, and Aries, where again, in their philosophy of life, what they think is just and fair is maybe kind of repeating an old pattern. They have a way of living life and viewing life that they enjoy and they feel is just and fair, but some of them, they kind of love themselves more, and it's really just more about them. And you decided to love yourself and believe in yourself and your dreams. And because of that, what you don't see coming is it will help you detach more from harnessing this energy in a more shadowy way or worldly way that could have kind of kept you maybe kind of more focused on the past, and to, as you keep doing this work within yourself, looking more to the future and then harnessing that energy in a more high vibrational way. The Two of Cups. So I was kind of referencing to the wedding card as kind of being like a Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is Cancer energy, and Capricorn and Cancer are opposite signs of the zodiac wheel. And Libra and Aries are on opposite signs of the zodiac wheel too. So we have all these opposite zodiac sign traits, just like we have our shadow nature and our high vibe nature. And at different times in our life, we could make our life maybe more being inspired by these things of the world. Maybe, and it's just trying to get more balanced. More balance between our earth sign energy and our emotional intuitive nature. So we're kind of not tipped out of balance, letting, because they're both important, right? And in our fire sign and our air sign energy, they're opposite of each other. We can have these things of the world that we're motivated and inspired by, but are we maintaining balance within ourselves and getting in more balanced relationships? Are we kind of tipped out of balance of what we think is just and fair? Or are we living more from our mind than our heart, than our more hopeful, believing, creative, inspired nature? And the Emperor is, having learned all these lessons in all four suits of the kings, kind of like I drove my life off into the ditch, letting my heart run my life, letting my mind run my life, letting my 3D world live my life, my passionate creative nature. And you learn all these lessons. And if you're willing to learn those lessons, to see in the Six of Wands, it can talk about balance. The Six of Wands is like two, three of Wands combined. In our worldly nature, we kind of have these things. We want these things to come into reality, which is kind of what the Three of Wands is about. But in our hopeful, believing, loving nature, we have things we want to come into reality. And we need to make the decision to be a good leader in our life. And again, the sixes talk about maintaining balance, that I have to maintain balance within myself, not indulge poor behavior in myself, so I don't indulge poor behavior in others. And again, stand up for what I believe in, because other people are standing up for what they believe in and how they want to live their life, whether they're saying it or not. By their actions, they're kind of showing you how they want to live their life and what kind of drives and motivates them. And we need to stand up for our more creative, inspired, loving nature. And as we do that work within ourselves, to love ourselves and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams and not settle for a more imbalanced, mismatched relationship or other people who are kind of tipped out of balance. And if you're a high vibe emperor, internally, emotionally, you would be an empress. Emotionally, you've learned these lessons. You really are who you say you are. And as you take this action, it helps you work through that emotional confusion of whatever could have been going on to get more balance within yourself. And then you will move forward in a much more balanced, victorious way. And kind of from the two of Wands to the Six of Wands, letting go of an old Four of Wands foundation, where we were maybe more inspired by ourselves, by the world, by these things. And, we can be manipulated by the world. We can be manipulated by our own lust, greed, fear, insecurity, pride, ego. If we make those things more important than standing up for our truth and justice and fairness and all that, there's going to be other people that are happy that we do, because they're in shadowy energy also. And we can have these different people that we could really, in a lot of ways, get along with, but we only get along with them more if we're in more shadowy energy of some sort. But there's also other people in the world that we can get along with that are more aligned with hope and faith and belief and love. And that's what you're moving towards. And if you're in those relationships, you're just working through, putting in the work and effort to work through those issues so everybody is kind of on the same page, to give birth to something new. And you could have felt when other people might want to keep repeating an old pattern, and so they never want to give birth to anything new. And that can seem dead and stagnant. And some people don't want to keep living their life like that. And so they could be communicating to some people in their life, brothers, sisters, adult children, whoever, that I'm not going to indulge people in immature or bossy or controlling or hurtful or unkind ways of being. This is how I'm going to move forward. I wish you peace and love, but if you want to spend time with me, you have to be more inspired to work together with me, invested from love and nurturing and stuff. And if not, then some of those people are probably going to go find someone else to go get in a relationship with. It's like, well, that's fine because I've already found out being in a relationship with you. Is there a part of me that would like to be in it? Yeah, but I know it's not really, I don't find it more inspiring or creative or aligned with my truth. And the things that you're kind of more motivated and inspired by, maybe at one time I was, but again, if people aren't willing to heal and grow and be inspired to step out of their comfort zone or work through whatever manipulates them to move forward with you in that way, well, I wish you peace. And maybe if you ever do, come let me know. But in the meantime, I can't keep doing that. And I think as you move forward, I think you'll meet other people who've gone through similar life situations that view you as a counterpart and someone they would like to move forward with because you've detached in being more emotionally aligned with your more worldly, egoic, codependent, whatever nature. And now you're aligned with your more hopeful, believing, loving nature. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn energy that they might not see coming up? The Knight of Wands. Why? Because of the Queen of Cups. Well, the Queen of Cups in shadow can be that these two cards are facing the past. Some people are still, kind of emotionally attached to a way of living life and viewing life and how they view themselves, how they view the world, how they view others, these things that they think are just and fair in relationships. And they could still be inspired by that. And because they keep being more emotionally invested in something else, or an old way of living life, kind of in a way, or, some other people in their life have been loving and encouraging to them, harnessing this in a high vibe way, but they want to move forward. And they're going to have some high vibe people in their life that are going to send them a message that, I have love for you, but I'm moving on. And this person is just sitting there kind of looking. This person's just sitting there. And they could think, some people, you're crazy. You should do this. This would be great. This is what I'm going to do. Why don't you view life like this? It's like, it's just like any phase of life that we've been at. It's like somebody stuck in a way of viewing life. We viewed life at different ways and had different ways of viewing ourselves and the world and relationships when we were 18, when we were 21, when we were 25. And, sometimes people can be 45 or 55, but they still have some emotional maturity levels and ways of viewing relationships, just like some of the people did maybe back when we were 25. And so then it can kind of be where some people are kind of stuck in a time warp. And they're like, well, no, I want to keep doing this. And other people are like, I kind of been there and I've done that. And I've kind of grown and healed and matured myself. And I'm ready to let love and intuition guide me to give birth to my own new thing. And that can be the difference in how people harness their fire sign energy. In your fire sign energy, you're either kind of, again, more about you and the world and these things, or you've kind of learned to kind of see through the illusion of how important we make that, or indulging our more immature nature or egoic nature, and we realize that love is what really makes it all worthwhile. I could have gotten in a career field. The house can represent a career field. I could have gotten in a career field because it would make me look victorious and successful, but oh my gosh, I hate this job. you know, and then other people got in a career field that they really love. Well, when are the people who are in a career field they don't love going to decide, I got to be able to do something different? I got to be able to figure out a way to take these skills or knowledge to move forward in life differently, because this is like, I don't know, keeps me stuck. I'm having to deal with more immature people. It might have a lot of the things that I want, but am I working with other people who are inspired to be kind of more bold and brave and confident and have hope and faith and belief in their dreams, or not? And, so they might be surprised that some people are going to kind of distance themselves from them. But then there's always going to be other people who want to be in relationships with people. And if these people are kind of immature or codependent, or maybe everybody could have some status and image and look victorious and successful in their own right, there's going to be other people who are going to be drawn and attracted to getting in relationships with people. It's just that the high vibe people aren't going to get in a relationship with just anybody, because they're not more immature, they're not more codependent, they're not just more materialistically motivated. And they've already kind of probably been in relationships where they've kind of had to indulge people. And maybe in the sign card, it can be, the people are boring, you know? And it's like, what about being more hopeful and believing and creative and inspired to go on this journey that, like, life's an adventure emotionally? And some people could be like, nope, I really don't want to go on an adventure emotionally from love. I like to maybe be more practical and grounded and make my life about these things. And, there'll be other people who are willing to probably be in a relationship with people like that. But it might be other people who also aren't inspired to get out of their ego, who also might be more driven and motivated by the ego and the image. Hey, this would look good. This would make it look like I've moved forward in life. This would make me look victorious and successful in some way. But it might be more how it benefits them than really working together with someone from love to bring a dream into reality. But everybody's got free will to manifest what they want to manifest. So there you go, Capricorn. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.